damages. You can read again the maximums from the recovery fund on paragraph number 8, lines 14 through 16, and page 132 in the example. It says the claim does not exceed $50,000 cap imposed by the Florida statute, and the total claims paid to the judgment against the licensee do not exceed in total $150,000. So you have to learn, you have to remember that that language. Claims from recovery fund not authorized. Your spouse, even though you offended the law, or you offended somebody else and you cost, your spouse cannot go after the recovery fund. Licensee who acted as a single agent or transaction broker is subject to the transaction. The claim filed against the licensee who was the owner of the property. Claim against the licensee who did not have a valid current license, or a claim against the brokerage entity. So it has to be against an individual. It has to have an active license. So if you did it, if you committed all these problems when your license was inactive, they cannot go after them. That doesn't mean they don't go after you in a court of law, but they cannot go after the recovery from the recovery fund. Okay. For this chapter, legal terms that you should and always know, of course, are breach is the breaking of a promise. To commingle is to mix money. Concealment is without withholding information. Conversion is a licensee's personal use or misuse of the client or customer's money. And culpable negligence is failing to use care. They used to, when I took the license, there was an additional term to a literal definition to culpable negligence, and that it was what you should have known.
They don't put that anymore? So
no, because it's failing to use care. What you should have known is failing to use care. So they've cut the definition down, but it's still the same thing. You know, failing to use care, if you should have known, didn't you fail to use care? So they take some words out, but it's still the same thing. It's still just as serious. Now, on the next few pages, well, let's continue with the more legal terms. You know, failure to account for and deliver is failing to pay money to a person. Fraud is intentional deceit. Material fact is relevant information. Misrepresentation is an untrue statement. And moral turpitude is conduct contrary to honesty or good morals. And remember, there was another thing added to the book that was and customary or custom, and that's the one that they can really stretch. What's normal custom? So if it's in this country, I made it obviously very wide to say you're driving against the traffic because you came from England and therefore they drive on the opposite side of the road. Well, it's not customary down here, so they can come after you. That's not really the proper thing, but moral turpitude, they can just about use anything. I mean, really, by definition, anything that's conduct contrary to honesty and good morals. Define good morals. Is it the religious term of good morals? Is it the Bible sense of good morals? What is it? Define good morals, and in whose definition?
That's a very good question.
Isn't that like the golden rule kind of thing?
Well, yeah, but can you put anything, can you make anything fit into that?
No.
If you wear a short dress, forgive me, you're a woman. If you wear a very short dress and somebody doesn't like it, can they say that you don't have good morals?
Yes, they can.
Can they say it? Yes.
But they can't get away with it in court.
Yeah,
Like,
but
they
what
can't
is
get
the
anything
standard?
from me
The
in
question
court.
is what
There
is
is
the
no
standard?
standard.
Yeah,
That's
so
what I'm
it's
saying.
good morals
In
is
a
not-
good moral definition, you can basically put anything in it.
Right.
You know, back in the 70s, you know, long hair was the thing. But if they were very strict, they had short hair and no sideburns and no mustaches, you know, no facial hair whatsoever. So everybody that had long hair and wore sandals did not have good morals.
I'm a hippie.
Okay, so now you're a hippie. See, and a hippie was not necessarily good in those.
If you were a male.
Well, no.
Right.
If you were part of the establishment, okay, if you were part of the establishment, all of those were outside of good morals, right? I lived through that. Don't tell me, you know, I know all about that. So, that by definition, good morals is under whose definition? And what I'm trying to tell you, that if they want to make a case against you for just about, not everything, but just about anything, when you add by definition a legal terminology of good morals, my God, the sky is the limit that they can actually go after you for. I'll give you another example, a better example, that is due to, it's to do with our industry. You want to charge 25% commission for your, is that good morals? Nobody can dictate how much you charge, but can they say, well, you know, that goes way above the custom? Was it used contrary to honesty and good morals? That's not customary?
Yeah, but you can ask
Well,
whatever you want.
I
Commission
understand
is-
that.
it's-
Can they basically make a case? Yeah, they can. They probably lose, but they can make a case. Okay, under pages 136 through 136 through 140. I sort of just want to give you some of the guidelines that FREC has to go by, because you know they just can't say, you know what, we're just going to revoke your license for what you did. They can't really do that. There's guidelines that they have to go by. So for instance, if the broker fails to maintain the office sign at the first violation is a reprimand up to a $500 fine. Second and subsequent violations, 90-day suspension and a $1,000 administrative fine. And what I'm trying to tell you is that they can't say, okay, this is the second time, we're going to suspend you for a year and charge you $5,000. That's not in their range. They have a range of what they can do to you by law. They can't just decide that they just don't like you and they want to get you out of the business for it. But this is pretty interesting because some of these things are extremely expensive. Under E, failure to account or deliver to any person as required by agreement or law for escrow property. It says $250 to $1,000 fine and suspension to revocation for your first violation. And it's $1,000 to $5,000 administrative fine and suspension to revocation. So it gets, if you notice here, there's only a few that have less than $500 fine. They've upped their ante to where just about everything is in the first, and most of them reach the $1,000 category even on the first violation in the range. You'll find that FREC uses the $1,000 category as normal, even though if you go a little bit lower, they basically just kind of, they like that $1,000 figure. They figure it's a nice round number. On the next page, number O, section 475.25(1)(n), it says, if you were confined in jail, prison, or mental institution, or through mental disease can no longer practice with skill and safety, okay? You were dictated by a judge that you're just, you can't, you have a mental disease. They can also fine you, in addition to that, $250 to $1,000, suspend or revocate, or again, $1,000 to $5,000. If you're mentally incapable, why don't they just put in there revocation? You know, but they have these. If you fail to tell the FREC within 30 days that you pled guilty or no contest, the last item on 132 is again $500 to $1,000 or $1,000 to $5,000. And so on. You know, they're not going to They don't usually test you on every single one of these, but do read them once or twice because they do like to ask. I'm sorry, they do. They like to ask on these, what's the penalty for, they're not going to tell you what's the penalty for a violation of 475.1125D. They're not going to do that, but they might ask you, what is the penalty for fail to follow the requirements of a written listing agreement? That they can ask, and they have. And so you need to know these for the state exam. Now I promise you I don't have any of these on my test, but they're fair game for the state exam. Did you know that there's they can send you to more educational course if you're found guilty of domestic violence? Nothing to do with real estate, but can they send you to school for more courses? Yeah, that's found on page 140, the second one. Section 455-227 1S. Failing to comply with the educational course requirements for domestic violence. Any questions on anything that we've covered so far? We are going to do one more chapter today, and whatever time we finish that, we're going to leave. Is that okay with everybody?
Yes.
Woohoo! I don't want to hear no woohoos.
Oh, yeah, that's okay.
I can't interpret woohoos.
It's a positive.
This, what? Did I send what? Did I send what?
I say, do you send it today or Monday?
What?
Porque tengo que, no, el resto del capítulo 7.
I'm going to finish today,
I know,
chapter 7.
I know, I said, I can't do it right now because I have to.
Goodbye. See how difficult that was? I don't chase, okay? You're an adult, you know what you need to do.
I know,
Okay, so don't worry about it.
thank you.
Sure. And don't serve me, I'm younger than you.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
You say that.
I'm sorry.
He's saying to me the same
Ay,
thing.
Yeah, I say that to everyone.
Mira, Wilma lo envió ayer, creo que fue. Wilma sent it, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, 6 to 10, I think it is, or 6 to.
What?
The chapters, yeah,
PowerPoint.
PowerPoints.
No.
Yes, she sent it through email.
So you should have it, yeah.
Guys, thank you.
Boy, I'm lucky, they sent me all 20 chapters all at once.
Right. Good for you. I'll give you a cookie.
Okay, drive carefully, please.
Bye, thank you.
Your cell
Okay,
phone. Your cell phone.
Yes.
she's not forgetting that, are you kidding? That goes before the car.
He knows me,
I know,
right?
I'm sure.
He knows me, right? He knows me, right?
Anybody in the business, the telephone goes before us.
Thank you, guys. See you.
See you. Bye. Have a good weekend.
Okay. Little do you have to know in this chapter, almost nothing. It says here, after completing this chapter, you should be able to describe the features of the Civil Rights Act of 1886, sorry, 1964 and 1968.
Yeah.
Anybody know what they are?
Discrimination, all that, age, everything that
Rights.
involves the rights, minorities.
There you go. You should be able to recognize examples of steering, redlining, and blockbusting.
Yeah.
Describe the features of the Truth in Lending Act, the Equal Credit Opportunity